And so does Wouter.
Yep.
They talked about both rolls. I'm not sure which one they settled on.
Neither
You
do
roll
I.
you roll under, you're right on the button. Scott will try to freeze to it, and then you're going to have a hard time scoring two. You don't have a lot of room to roll if you roll to the outside.
That's right. Again, I mean, probably overthrown in terms of weight, and just by the indication that the one sweeper gave. So
Pretty good result as it turned out, though.
yeah, I mean, I kind of like rolling that way.
And I didn't have time to say it because they'd made a decision. I thought they might think about a freeze. Let's put it this way: I think Scott Howard would have thought about a freeze.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
freeze to that stone, there's a chance to maybe get three here. Makes the hit,
Ooh.
rolls all the way across, and just a little too far.
Yeah, they probably didn't manage that the way they wanted to because they really weren't sweeping. And
He took a really close look, but he still seems to think it's the red. I thought it was the red. So now you can come around the center guard. Three still in play here. Can't be behind the T line on this one, though.
yeah. Well, and if I wonder too if Scott was trying to make that roll too perfect because he didn't want um, Gosgens to be able to hit and roll under.
It could be. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's if you want to talk about execution tolerance, a nose hit wasn't over rolling was better than a nose hit, perhaps in that
Yeah, I
particular
think
scenario.
yeah.
Could be.
This is not burying the way they wanted it to or hoped it would, but I guess now that it's gotten behind the T line, it's got some cover. But as you mentioned earlier, Scott's not going to hesitate to freeze to that.
Yeah, they'd probably been happier if it wasn't.
Yeah,
If you were gonna, if you're going to be behind the T line, you'd be happier if it didn't get behind the guard too.
that's right.
Nothing out of the brushers so far. And now sweeping from the offside. Maybe this has got a lot of curling to do yet.
Yeah, it really does.
Doesn't look light either.
No, there it goes.
Bumps it to the back 12. So Howard sitting one now. Goskin's looking to move it. This has got tighter line early. Doesn't appear to be curling though.
Yeah,
Again, it's a lot of weight. This is essentially just a heavy draw that they're playing in. Again, that's close to hack weight. Got the job
hmm
done though.
yeah. We think he sits two.
Still looks like there's room for Scott to roll buried and be shot rock at the back four, but it is getting a long ways back there.
Yeah. You can hold this out there for a while when you got good sweepers like Scotty, or sorry, Timmy.
Not able to hold it quite enough, though. It
No.
rolls too far. Yap Van Dorp is the second, but he's the vice for this team as well, in the house now, and taking a look at those two stones as well. It's got to be a little closer than it looks on camera, because it, to me,
Yeah.
looks like the red for sure, but they've looked at it 3 times now. I get it. I mean, you want to make real sure that you're shot here,
Yep.
but
Oh, for sure.
even if you're not, I'm not sure how it changes the shot on this one. I guess you could come to the corner of the yellow one if you thought it was shot already.
Yeah. Still a lot more difficult than what they're
Yeah,
playing right
it
now.
is. This is the easier shot.
I've had the opportunity to watch these guys play a fair bit, and my I guess memory says to me, like they're in a lot of games, but they give up that one end that just ends up being a catastrophe, and this is this is way out there again. Uh,
And both sweepers pointing up. That's usually not a good
yeah,
sign.
yeah.
They've dropped off at the hog line. And it slides all the way to the back 12. Well, Wouters had looked at that rock 3 times. I haven't seen Scott go over to look at it once, so he must be pretty sure who's shot rock. If you could see any piece of that yellow, it would have to be tempting to play the tap and roll over and sit 5.
Yep.
Especially after watching your opposition. Well, I guess it would only be sitting 4, but to see your opposition that heavy on his last draw attempt.
That's a real
well
quick
out there.
path. Yeah, that's a real quick path there as well.
There's probably been about 10 rocks down that path this end. That's not helping.
Yeah.
It does stop for shot rock, but it's back button. There's room to get to it. The amount of finish there is here. Interesting that he's looking at the out turn here. I mean, I'm sure you can get there, but they've played every other rock this end with the in turn.
Yeah.
So the speed's liable to be different on this side as well.
That's right. I mean, my experience in watching him says, if I was coaching Wouter, it would be, I really would work with him on his intern. I think that he has a tendency to, you know, put a lot of rotation on it, but he in outs it a little bit, and if he isn't in outing it, it's his line of delivery. He gets off the line, he gets out wide, and he doesn't set it back.
Well, facing one for sure at the back of the button.
Yeah.
Wouter Gosgens with his final stone looking to tap it back, and we think it might be good for 2 if he can make it. That was a very healthy extension when he let go.
Yeah. A lot of curling to do here, but it's going to be close, I think.
Yeah, I don't know that he's got the weight.
He does. Oh, no.
And that was just the difference between going to that other side, I think. He
Yeah.
makes the tap, gets the single, but not far enough to get his deuce. On the board, Scott Howard with a 2-1 lead after 2 ends of play, and he'll have last rock in the third.
But we're clipping right along. That's good. That critical, get it on the center line. That's become the new standard.
2-1 as we begin play here in the third end of the curling stadium, Martensville International. Scott Howard with the lead, but, to be honest, Wouter Gosgens has had him on the run really both of the first 2 ends. They were sitting really good the first end, and then it was Wouter's last rock that gave Howard the chance to pick up his 2. Up until then, it was looking like a steal. And even last end, it looked like he was getting 2 most of the end, and it was one good draw with Scott Howard's last one, and then just a shade light with his last one, or he still could have had 2.
Mm-hmm.
They've certainly had the pressure on.
Yeah, Scott's got to be pleased with the score.
Well, they got a good guard up to start this end, but the freeze attempt with their second, you can see come up well short. Scott looking to get a second one around that center guard now.
They were yelling top 4, so gonna have to go to get it top 4.
Well, the assumption you're making is that the guys yelling top 4 that you heard are the guys on our sheet, because it's hard to tell.
Of course.
There's 4 sheets going out there, and the only mics that are there, to be fair, to let the viewers at home know, because I know you can hear the sounds in the background, those mics are on the cameras. So typically the voice you're going to hear is whoever happens to be closest. It's not always the guy on our sheet.
Oh, that's true.
Setup not looking good for Gosgens here, so he's going to look for the run back on the red. This is his own stone, so he can make a play on the guard. Looking to run red onto yellow here. Red onto yellow by the third one, but does get rid of one of the yellows. Key to that was that quiet wait. He manages to keep
Yeah.
all the reds in play.
Scott wanting to get a little bit more control of the top of the house here, so he's elected, which I think very wisely, to try and play a hit here and stay.
Yeah, actually looking to hit the deepest of the red stones
Yeah.
first, then come into the side of the other one. Not going to get it that way. Still works out. He actually spun into a little more of the 12-foot, so sits 2, although shot rock open now. See it once again with the big weight. They were hoping to hit the deeper stone first, then come into the side of the other one, and their shooter would have protected shot rock. Just comes up a little bit too much, catches the higher one first, and with that gear effect, he spins up and over. Sits in a 12-foot to sit 2. But Gosgens does have an open path at shot rock right now. They're going to try to roll undercover themselves.
Yeah, it's close, but it's too much of the yellow rock, and they sit right there wide open. Now I'll be interested. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
I thought I saw Scott indicate they were playing the big roll to the wide side.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this. I think you'll just see a difference in how they manage rocks. Where this one will be very like boardish, if that, and
they've gone to plan B now. He did call to roll the other way.
Yeah.
Well, that is really quiet.
Yeah.
I think probably, even for what they had in mind, that's probably a little underthrown.
I would think so, yeah. I mean, I just know, and I think that's sort of a reflection of playing with his dad, but his dad, I don't think, well, I mean, he would say, I'm going to throw peel. Well, his peel and my peel are a little different, but I mean, I thought Glenn was kind of the master of, just, playing that, we used to call it in our day junk weight, enough to move rocks out of the house but quite enough to manage.
Another attempt to hit and roll undercover. And again, just gets up to the nose, even if maybe a little to the outside.
But I do like it. I do like the weight selection there by Wouter. I think he's kind of picking up on the ice conditions, and I mean the ice looks really quick, and but it is so straight when you add weight there, and it makes it much more difficult to manage the rock.
On the brush on this one right away, trying to roll under the guard. Get a piece of the red, but it's going to roll well past the guard. Can they get under their own now?
No, not quite.
Maybe a sliver.
Yeah, unfortunate. If he had the hammer, he would probably elect to hit shot rock or freeze to it, or that quiet weight and roll over underneath the his stone. But given he doesn't have the hammer, this seems to be the correct shot to be playing at this stage of the end.
Nothing out of the brush until they needed curl at the end. They're actually going to get it the other way and jam it at the back.
Yeah.
Still spins it out, though.
Yeah. And Scott couldn't wait to get up to that rock. Asking Matt Cam to get rid of that guard.
And this could be a stage of the game type of call, too. I mean, it's the third end. If it was the fourth, you might see him come around because that's third's last stone. If you wanted to make an offensive move with last rock, that's where you do it.
Yeah.
If it was a foot and a half further off the center line, he might have gone around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just in the third end and that close to center, you don't want to get forced. Didn't see the call here from Wouter. Is he trying to come right in? I'd be tempted here just to throw a guard, let Scott peel it, and then try to put something in behind that corner or even in the neighborhood of that corner. If you bring this into the middle of the rings and Scott hits it, you got a hard time rolling over to get under there. And if he peeled a guard that was off the center line with the third's last stone, he's not drawing on Skip's first.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that decision kind of dictates the next one.
Yeah, now if Scott just hits that right on the nose, I don't think you could roll over behind that corner and still be in the rings. So certainly appears we're going to be headed for a blank attempt here in this third end.
Mm-hmm. Tim Marsh has got such good techniques in his sweeping.
Well, he rolled towards it a little bit. There might still be a chance to hang near the back of the 12-foot. Boy, it's real tough to tell. If you're behind the red one, I think you're out of the rings. But you could be over there far enough to at least influence Scott's last shot.
Yeah.
They're going to give it a go. There's no reason not to. So many guys still, even in this era, like the outside in turn to play for the blank. If you can even roll edge to edge, you'd force Scott Howard to come from the middle.
Yeah.
Not the roll they had in mind. Sits shot rock. Good piece of the button, but Scott Howard will just have to hit and roll out to get the blank here. Keep that last rock into the fourth end.
You mean it didn't roll perfect behind the imaginary guard?
Hey, there's a little piece of 12-foot available behind that guard, but it was always going to be tough to get anything covered when he came in as deep as he did with his first. If you're coming into the rings at all, I think you want to be top 8 there, and then you have a chance to at least go for the big roll.
Yeah.
Sweeping for curl there like they were worried, but he gets a good piece of that stone, makes the hit, rolls out. We've got a blank here in the third. Scott Howard continues to lead by a score of 2-1 over Wouter Gosgens. Into the fourth, which we'll have for you right after this.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
When curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice daily. Hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Welcome to the rockshop.net. the official store for the Grand Slam of curling. Whether you're looking for the best hats, stylish clothing, fun toys,
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind,
Sean Joyce, Terry Corbin with you here live from the Curling Stadium, Martensville International. A 16-team field. This event was scheduled early on in the season. There's one here this weekend, one in Swift Current next weekend. Men's events taking advantage of the fact that there are a number of the international teams, especially the teams from Europe and some from Asia, that have made the trip over early, with World Men's being in Moose Jaw in 3 weeks. So they come over, get a chance to play on the ice a bit, and probably more importantly for some of those teams, get acclimated to the time zone difference before they have to play in Worlds.
Yeah, I think that's probably a bigger variable than a lot of us understand.
So you can watch all of the action here on the Curling Stadium this week in Martensville. The teams will be back. A number of these same teams will be back on the ice next week in Swift Current.
Now, I haven't seen the lineup, unfortunately, because I had other things on the go and other things on my mind. But is Wouter representing Denmark?
Oh, you would have to ask a question like that when I haven't looked it up yet.
Oh man, like yeah, you're my knowledge book. You're my encyclopedia.
You know, and I don't know. Well, it's tough to know with some of these because, for instance, there were initially 4 U.S. teams. Actually, I think originally there were 5. One of them did drop out early. But there were a number of U.S. teams that were coming. Well, obviously, not all of them are going to Worlds. There's a team here out of Korea. I don't know if they're the one that's representing at Worlds or not. You would think. And then there's, again, a number of them next weekend as well in Swift Current. All of that driving distance from Moose Jaw, which is where the Worlds will be in 3 weeks, beginning in about 3 weeks' time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if I can look that up. Well, you can't hear whether I'm typing or not.
I'm just gonna say I'll actually look it up.
It's Howard sitting 2 here. Well, that is interesting. I do not see the Netherlands nor Korea represented in the A group. Oh, pardon me. Yes, the Korean team that's here is the team that's going.
Is it? Okay.
The Netherlands do not have a team on the men's side.
Oh, really?
Not in the A division anyway.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't think the B takes place at the same time.
No.
Of course, there's also some things at stake for the number of Canadian teams that are here. There's just 3 events left. I believe it's the 2 events, this one, Swift Current, and the Grand Slam, I believe, are the last chance to gain any points for this season towards the Olympic pre-qualifier.
Yeah. Team Howard just lobbing them in here and in and around the 4-foot and the button, and
Yeah, they didn't get the line on that one they would have liked.
no, yeah,
It's just fully open. Like if you could fire full weight at it, you could probably kill all 3 yellows. Even if you just threw controlled weight and hit just a sliver high side, you get the back too. And you
yeah,
might even stay frozen on the front one.
I was going to say the rock that you make contact with is going to move a little bit to our left as we look at it head on.
This looks like he's trying to come at it with some weight. If you could hit this right on the nose with weight, they might all go.
Yeah, that's
You're
paper.
flirting with the guard, yeah.
Yeah. I'd want to get the cardboard out, not a paste paper. He definitely did not overthrow this in terms of weight.
Still needed to curl up just a hair more. He would have liked to have kept the shooter in front of that red stone in the 4-foot, or pardon me, yellow in the 4-foot.
Yellow, yeah.
So for Scott Howard, they're looking to make the hit on the red, touch the yellow as they come across the top of it and spin in behind the guard. Now, when they touch that yellow, you're touching the front end of it, but because you're coming from the side, it's never going to go straight back. It'll come a little bit towards the guard. Makes the hit, touches it a bit.
There you go.
Does bring it a sliver under the guard, so he actually ends up Christmas treeing them, I think.
Yeah, it's I think that's real good.
Pretty quiet on the sweep call most of the way down. Starts to move a little bit at the hog line. Catches, you can see that stone when he touches the top end of it, it comes a little bit closer to the guard.
Yep.
Even if that yellow stone at the top of the 8-foot wasn't there, I think the edge of that yellow in the button is now behind cover, and that means all that Gosgens has left is the run back. And we'll just drive it by the rock in the rings.
Yeah. Starting to look like a multiple score here. This is Matt's second of 2, and he makes this good. It'll really force Wouter into a difficult shot, let alone a difficult decision.
Yeah, he'll probably have to run the yellow back again, but this
Yeah.
time it's a yellow one coming back.
That's right.
Which means you're probably still going to be facing 2, even if you make the shot. I've had the occasion to do a little bit of coaching in my days. This is one of those situations where if the team called timeout and I came out and they asked me what I'd like, I'd said, well, I'd like to be throwing yellow.
Yeah.
You're in some trouble here. He's got the run back, but you can just see the way those yellows are lined up. It's hard to get the double on the 2 and the 4-foot without dead sticking the one you're running back, and that means Scott Howard is again drawing to sit 3.
Yeah, we used to always say when they had yellow, I wish I was a banana.
Needs to make contact with something in the rings this time.
Yeah, he's not going to. So do you give him I was going to say, do you give him a free run at a double and take 3? Because if he make, I guess you could make the double and get a little bit of a roll to the left. because it's either,
Well, the other concern is if you throw the guard, does he just come around everything?
around everything. I
Yeah.
mean, he almost has to if you throw the guard.
It seems to be what they're playing anyway, but I like this. If you're going to play the guard, at least bite with it. Now you're sitting 4. He's less likely to ignore it. You give him a double all day. He can play a double. You give him a double anywhere if you could make one.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd exchange a double for 3.
Actually, here, if you could bite the rings and just
Yeah.
over curl that one at the top 8, he'd have to play the straight back double. There's probably not a triple there, and it would be a draw for 3. Just bite the 12 here. Nothing out of the rushers yet. Curl shouldn't be the problem. Line's going to get there. Did they leave it too long?
Yeah.
Well, it's still close.
No, they're going to get it there. Good,
Yeah,
good.
perfect.
Good rock management there.
Now, did they leave it at just the right angle for an attempt at the triple? He's talking about coming around everything, which was one of the concerns. You had to live with that, though. If you're Scott, if you're
Yeah.
playing a guard, you had to know that was a possibility.
Yeah.
We do know he can throw it hard. I mean, if you hit it right now, I think you could
Yeah.
probably get all 3 of the yellows. Now, it's still going to be a draw for 2 if you make that. And there's a pretty good chance you're not getting all 3 of them. You got to hit, if we look from the overhead view, you've got to hit that yellow at the top 12 on the right side. When you bring that back to the one at the top of the button, it's going to come towards the one, or top of the forefoot, pardon me. It's going to come towards the one at the top of the side of the button, and you may not kill it. The middle of the 3 may not go. You could end up throwing a really good shot in an attempt for a triple and still give up a shot for 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, very easily.
You could make, a very close shot, very close to making it perfect. And if you leave a biter somewhere, it's still a draw for 3.
Yeah,
You play the draw to the back of the forefoot, though, and the game could be over right here.
Yeah, but I think he has to go like back of the forefoot.
I tend to agree.
I mean, the key is getting past that one at the top 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Actually, the way they curl, I'm not sure. I think you could get by the one at the top 4 and still rub the other one, which would still kill you.
Well,
He almost needs to throw this with the right weight so that they can be carving it at the end to get as much. You don't want it to be dead there because you want to be able to sweep it at the end to carve it in behind as much as you can. He's not looking to get shot rock with this. So you get second shot at the back of the 4. That's probably the best you can do.
Yeah, he would, quite frankly, I think he would give up 2 and play the next end.
If you don't get all the way to the top 4, if you were halfway, just a good piece around that stone at the top of the forefoot, but top button, that could work too. And I mean, you're playing with a much smaller piece of ice to do that. Line is close.
Yeah, it really is. It's got to carve.
There's
hard.
that weight to carve it.
Oh. Well, you know what? He got second shot. That is as good as I think he can do.
It probably cuts out the 2 stones in a 12-foot because I don't think Scott can throw enough weight to move it that far. But the shot's still there for 3.
Yeah, I think we went from kind of handshakes to, well, let me just put that glove back on. This could be a huge momentum swing as well. Scott knows he's got to get it to the back of that.
Well, the call was for back 8-foot weight. I saw the indication was maybe
This
a
is
little
close.
warm.
Yeah. What a great shot by Scott. Oh, he did. Yeah, he was just too heavy.
Yeah, so it's only good for 2.
Yep.
But that still gives Scott Howard a 4-1 lead after 4 ends of play. Gosgens with last rock in the 5th when we come back.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year
SaskTel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life.
Fifth end underway. Well, Scott Howard picking up 2 in the 4th, but probably Wouter Gosgens, the team that would be celebrating the most out of that situation, because it looked like it could have been as much as 3, 4, or 5. So to hold them to 2, a bit of a victory for them. Still, they've got some work to do to get back in this game, trailing by 3 here with just 4 ends left to play. Our team brings their opening 2 stones of this 5th end into the top of the house. Gosgens had thrown up a corner guard to start. Now the chance with those 2 being that close together, you hit this right on the nose. You kill the back one and stay essentially frozen to the top one. Tobias Vandenherk, pardon me, looking to hit this right on the nose. They mismanaged the sweep a little bit. He makes contact with both, not able to roll in behind the corner, does stay in the open. A little over aggressive as they were trying to get that one to curl. They were just looking for the nose hit. Over curled it a bit. Jason Kem with the hit. Pushes the red all the way through the back. The yellow rolls in behind cover. But that's a stone that essentially Gosgens can use. Opting for the corner freeze, you could probably actually come right around that too.
Yeah, you probably could. Hello. I don't know. This game's moving along pretty good, but I obviously won't get to see the first period probably. You're what? You think you're thinking of going back down? Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm hoping to get there, buddy. I'm hoping to get there. Okay. Okay. Bye.
Well, it sounds like Terry was hoping to get to a hockey game. Gosgens was hoping to get to the corner freeze. And
yeah, sorry about that.
Maybe didn't work out for either one of you.
Yeah.
Or maybe it did. Maybe because Gosgens didn't get to the corner freeze, you got a better chance of getting to the hockey game now. It is a little tricky for Scotty. Doesn't really want to leave that corner guard where it is. It's tricky to remove it. I've got everything. Can you hear me, Terry? Hello, Terry. I don't know if you can hear it. I can hear you. The Howard team with the hit on the guard rolls towards center. So Howard's sitting 2 at the moment. Gosgens opting to try to come in around the corner guard again. Maybe get the corner freeze on that yellow stone. Has to stay to the inside of it. It's got to be second shot here. And again, going to come up a little bit short. Actually rubs off the guard. Gotta believe Scott Howard thinking about coming around now. You got to be careful where you go with this, though. You come as deep as he first indicated. You leave the double off the one that's in the 8-foot. Hard to bury and be that high. That's the ideal spot, though. You get these two even, dead buried. If he does make the flat double, that'll leave the shooter out in the open. Got really nice line coming in. Boy, that's really good. It's not quite dead buried, but for Gosgens to play a double, any kind of double, he's got to leave his shooter out in the open. And to try to get under, as they're indicating now, he'd have to throw really quiet weight, hit it thin.
Yeah.
Which, you know, certainly you can make. It's not a comfortable throw to have to make.
Again, I think it's important that, you know, kind of Scott keeps pressuring this team. I think, he knows that, they're better shot makers, and if you keep putting on the pressure, I mean, ultimately, I think this Dutch team is going to have a difficult time handling what, Scott and team and company can throw at them.
You just want Scott to keep putting pressure on because you're hoping to make it to the hockey game. Don't.
So I
Yeah.
know there's no way I was making it for the first
Okay.
period anyway, so.
Looking for a little roll away here. Now they're going to end up with a nose hit. Third's last stone. He's looking to come around everything. To me, it still would be tempting to play the double on the yellows to make sure you've got. Yeah. You don't have a lot of room right now. This is a tough shot. You make the double, roll over to the edge of the 8-foot because you can hit it fairly well off the nose. Let Scott hit that and then play the come around.
Mm-hmm.
Look for the skips deuce.
Yeah, and I think you make a really good point because I think too many times, at least watching and coaching the juniors, it's hard for them to think, if I do this, then this opens this up, and then we can do what we'd really like to do. They get kind of focused in on, what's the shot right now.
Yeah. Well, and in this particular case, I think part of it, we don't know. I don't know this team very well, but part of their thinking might be that they're so late in the end. Like if this was second stones, I think he'd likely play that double. But because he's already down to thirds last, he's maybe thinking, well, if I'm going to score 2, we have to make an aggressive play now. And certainly it could work out for him, but that was a tough shot. They made it not bad.
Oh no,
but
made
Scott
it really
follows
good.
it down, and you're still going to have a hard time scoring.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, you do the math, like it's only 4-1. It might feel like it's worse than that, but it's 4-1. You grab a deuce and, and it's 4-3. You give them 1, it's 5-3. You grab 2 with the hammer again, now we're tied. This is a good shot. Yeah, wow. Very nice.
Now the deuce is real tough.
Yeah. Yeah, you shrunk the rings pretty good there. You go on top, Scott goes on top. I don't know how you're getting.
Well, yeah,
one.
that's your problem with a shot like this, right? You make the freeze, then it leaves room for Scott to freeze again. If you play to the top of the button, you can't come to your own and be shot rock again. So how do you get? Like, it's hard to get 2 either way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sweepers are kind of trying to gauge here whether they need to go. It's looked like they're looking for a little bit of feedback. Are we? Do we need to carve this thing?
Yeah, I think it might have been a little strong out of his hand too. You'd like to throw that so they could carve it at the end. They couldn't really touch that all the way down, or it would have been heavy. Chisels off it just a little bit.
So if you hit half a rock there, obviously the shooter rolls towards the wings. But I'm just wondering, does that red rock hit the yellow rock with enough momentum that it would kick that red all the way back?
I don't think so.
No, eh?
I think what you're trying to decide here, if you're Scott, and it looks like with that, what they just indicated, they're just going to try to move it a few inches. Just enough to sit too.
Yeah.
If that had chiseled off any further though, like it rubbed that yellow and just sat pretty much side by side on it. But if it rolls an inch or two more to the wide side, there could have been a double air to sit 5, and you might even have chiseled that yellow in behind further. You'd be cold drawing against 5.
Yeah, he could just throw this top button and it would be hard to remove. They're really going to carve this thing. This looks hot out of his hand as well.
It's got a lot of room yet.
There it goes.
If you blast that, does the double go over the top?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
That's what I was thinking. Like it's
I know.
It's thinner than you think on the first one. It's about a third of a rock because you almost need to hit half of the second one. He's not going to try it with that ice.
I don't think the rock that you're going to strike is going to, miss that red one in behind on the same side.
Okay, what if you hit it 3/4?
3/4? Yeah.
Do you keep your shooter and the one on the back of the 8-foot? Then does it spin off the other one? You'd lose one of them, but do you keep your shooter and one of them? You might. I'm not saying for sure it's there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't look at it a little bit longer though, because really you need a deuce here if you could get one. Well, looking to play the heavy draw, and they've put the carve on right away. He's got to get to the nose at least on that stone, preferably the inside.
Yeah. The weight's going to save him here. Oh, yeah.
Does get to the inside. It's enough to pick up his single point. Gosgens down by a score of 4-2 after 5 ends of play, and Scott Howard will have last rock once again in the 6th.
The people have spoken, the votes are in, and the players are ready to rock at curling's first ever All-Star event. '25 TCG All-Star Game, live from Nashville, April 15th and 16th. Let's rock.
Sean Joyce, Terry Corbin with you here live. It's the Curling Stadium, Martensville International. essentially round-robin pools, but it's the top 8 overall that make the playoffs. Scott Howard won his game earlier today. He came in with a record of 1-0, and of course, Gosgens lost their earlier game. This is kind of a must-win game for them. Hard to make top 8 out of 16. You're playing 3 games to try to qualify. 1 and 2 might make some kind of tiebreakers, but you sure don't want to have to count on it.
Yeah.
And being 2 down here, playing in the 6th, you got to think Wouter's likely going to play pretty aggressively for the steal here.
Yeah, almost has to.
Yeah, I think so. I don't even think a force helps you a whole lot here.
No, either do I. I mean, 6th end, and so you got 2 ends to play afterwards. It's now or never, as they say.
Yeah, you steal here, force in 7, then at least you're 2 down with coming home. That's a better situation.
Yeah.
You force here, even if you get your 2 and 7, you still need to steal 8 and probably an extra end.
Mm-hmm.
Just by the guard, will make
nice
the play on that redstone all the way through the back of the rings and rolls up on top of his own again. I may not be able to speak their language, but you can almost sense what they're thinking here. It's like, we're in all kinds of trouble to try to steal here. The only way, or perhaps the best way to set up a steal, he's got to run this straight back and absolutely dead stick it. You can't get much with a corner freeze. They'll just rip the guard. This is the only way to get dead buried and frozen.
Good shot.
That was the 5th stone of the end, so Scott can make a play on the guards now.
Yeah.
You know, without Last Rock, they probably were not thrilled that they had to play that shot, but it was their best chance, and he made it pretty good. I mean,
oh yeah,
you would love to stay dead in front of the yellow, but that's so tough.
Oh yeah.
Our team ends up straight peeling the guard, which they'll be fine with. Gosgens will need to straight guard the redstone now for most of this rest of the end, and as long as you can straight guard it, Scott will just keep peeling guards. Scott, really, I think the way the house is set up, he can wait until Gosgens makes the first move.
Yeah, I think so too.
On the one hand, they want to get that really dead lined up. On the other hand, I'm sure they didn't want it to be that tight.
Yeah. Go over the top now. Yeah.
Yeah, he can. Without a lot of risk. I mean, even if he misses the red one, yes, he could hit the yellow, but he could never dead jam it from that tight. He can't drive it by on enough of an angle to dead jam the yellow.
This thing will stay straight as straight can be.
So they will end up straight peeling the guard. That's fine, too. We're on to 3rd stones now. Lawrence Ekman will look to replace the guard. Line was good on the last one. They'd probably like it a little longer.
Mm-hmm. And Scott's been around long enough. He knows that, it's to his advantage just to be patient and actually let Wouter make the first move.
Well, certainly with the way the stones in the house are set up right now. There are situations where if there's a setup that Wouters might be able to use, but it's hard for him to do much with what's there.
I know.
He can't really come around both of them. And it's hard to come around both of them, not leave a double. If he has to hit the yellow, then Scott's going to have a fairly routine shot to score.
I honestly think Matt's better off just a straight peel.
Yeah, in that situation, that one was a tough one to get. You could maybe get all three of them going, I guess, if you hit it really well, but
I think he likes that distance a whole lot better.
yeah, and I still think you have to peel the guard, and then
yeah,
Wouter has to make a decision. And I'm wondering, do you come around the yellow from the out turn? If you come around the red from the in turn, you're going to leave a double.
Yeah, I think that's a given.
Well, they might not all still be there.
Wow.
Well, now you're coming around the yellow.
Yeah, that's not what he was hoping for.
He kept playing as if he wanted to make a play in the rings. I'm
I
not
know.
sure that I would have played it there, but because this is a better situation for Wouter than he was going to have if you just straight peel the guard. He wouldn't have had anything this good. Plenty of room by the guard. Oh, I think they let it die.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that had nice line coming in, and now I will grant you, it looked like it was going to skate into the 4-foot, and it did seem to come down pretty hard. We are into the 6th end here.
Yeah, that grinded hard.
Scott can see enough of it to make a play on it, and they'd like to keep the shooter in for second shot somewhere.
Wow.
Makes the hit, does roll across, open in the 8-foot, but he is shot for the time being. Gosgens looking at playing the hit and roll to get under cover. And he also sit 2 this way. So at the worst, you'd get a force out of this.
Yeah, nose hit, I mean, if you ever needed it, would leave a double, but I'm sure Scott would elect to take his 1.
If you thought this was a must-steal situation, you might even play the draw here.
Yeah, for sure.
Going to get the hit, but not the roll he needed. Sits 2. But wide open, and Scott Howard will have the chance to make the nose hit, take his single here, and restore the 3-point lead.
Yeah, excuse me. Wouter does not seem to get the same curl as other guys are getting out of that in turn.
Final stone here of the 6th end. Brush on right away. Now easing back. Just needs the nose hit.
Yeah, he's fine.
Fine indeed. Scott Howard picks up a single point here in the 6th. Restores that 3-point lead. He's up 5-2. Wouter Gosgens is going to have some work to do when we come back for the 7th.
Stronger agronomics. Better returns. Greater peace of mind from pre-seed.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed? More innovation?
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
First stone of this 7th end brought into the top of the 4-foot. The corner guard just coming to rest as we came back. Scott Howard with a 3-point lead here. Would love to keep the play in the rings. Wouter Gosgens needs to pick up. You got to think at least 2 here. And you just wonder, will he throw the second corner guard this end?
Yeah, good question.
And we will have an answer to that question in just a few seconds. And the answer is yes, and they'll throw it to the other side. trying to get them even. There's a little bit of difference in the depth, but it would be an awfully flat attempt to the double. Can't play it yet anyway. This is the 5th stone of the end. You will see this kind of scenario play out all the time. You see the first 2 brought in, the 2 corner guards. Now you throw one more rock to the middle, and then everybody can start looking at what they can do with the angles.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question they're going to make a play on these stones in the middle. The question is what play, and it looks like he's going to play full weight at it, try to move all 3 of them. Gets 2 of them, does keep his shooter for another tight corner guard.
That's a pretty good play, I think.
Yeah, it's always critical with a shot like that to keep your shooter. And as much as you'd love to keep 1 or 2 of those yellows around at the back, and that's great if you make it, those are always tougher shots to manage, too. You see teams all the time try to do that. You dead stuff something, and you're still facing 2 in front of the tee line, and there's still work to do. They've essentially cleared up room to use the corner guards now.
Yeah. And they've kind of forced execution on Team Howard. And you see even where that rolled there, that shot. At the end of the day, I mean, when you're needing points and needing to score, that rock of Scots can kind of help you in a very minute way.
Well, it could end up helping him right now. They're going to opt to go around the corner that side, and if you leave a piece of it in the hole, it's going to be a tiny hole to go through it with any weight. Easier to get through here with a draw than it will be with a hit. Switch the sweepers, looking for curl now. He's got a nice line by the guard. Yeah. And even at that, just gets by the yellow. That's pretty good. It is second shot, but that's all they were hoping for there. And real tough to get at that rock directly now. So Scott's simply going to peel out the corner guard.
And for those of you who are watching and you're looking at what end we're in, we are in the 7th end. We've got 2 ends to play.
Just throw Matt under the bus there.
Oh, and you'd have to. If I was throwing him under the bus, I would have said, "Hey, Matt, we're in the 7th end." The number just got stuck.
Peel made on the corner guard. Gosgens now will look to come around the other corner. This is really taking off. I don't think he's getting by the guard, and it's a long guard.
Oh, yeah.
Not sure what happened to that. I didn't see it. They're shrugging their shoulders, too. For a lot of the way down, I don't know if that picked or not. It didn't look like they were panicked about it early.
No.
Regardless of what happened to the last one, now a chance for the Howard team to make a play on that red stone at the edge of the 8-foot. I don't know if you even want to stay here. Well, he did stay. So they sit 3 for the time being.
Yeah, I would not even have been opposed to rolling that in line with the one that's in the 12-foot and entice them to play the double.
Oh, they're never playing the double. I would have hated that. Then he hits and roll frozen to you, which still wouldn't be a bad call. You've only got 3 rocks left. I don't see any way you're getting 3 here. So I like this idea of hitting that rock. You make a trickier one for Scott, and then you can come around the corners, because right now you can't get around those corners and be shot rock.
No.
I'm not even sure you could be second.
Yeah, that would be...
I like the hit and roll frozen. If you could make it, then you force Scott to blast them all out, and now you come around the corners and you can be shot. Got to roll. This is really curling. Yeah, that's not very close to what they were playing. They needed a roll past the yellow one in the 12-foot for sure. It'd be nice to get in front of that second shot stone. Now what do you do if you're Scott Howard?
Yeah, the good news if you are, if you're Wouter, wherever this ends up, it could end up, being useful. Scott needs to really decide. Well, the team really needs to decide where they want this rock to end up. Are they satisfied with nose? I doubt it.
I think they are. I think you hit this one right on the nose because, again, I'm not sure. Like, you'll have half a rock in the 8-foot, and I'm not sure you could come around the corner guard and be shot rock. So you might force him to come around one of the yellows, and then it's going to be a short run back.
Well, they're rolling on this.
That's not horrible.
No, it really isn't. I mean,
it still probably means he can't come around the corners and be shot. So he's got to draw around that yellow at the top 12-foot.
And Scott will have the run back on the one in the 12, as well as a slash in, depending on what depth this one ends up. Or if it's wide open or only half buried, he'll be able to play kind of that tap shot that he's played so well.
Yeah, this is where you'd love to overbury it if you could. And he can afford to be back 8-foot here. He can't. He can't be cute with this. You got to try to get it as far underneath as you can, and overburied is fine. There's no port between the yellows.
No. And you could literally take away the slash if it's deep enough on that top yellow. And that's in the 8-foot there.
Yeah, I can't see Scott ever playing that anyway. I think he's either playing the run back, or if you make this draw absolutely dead perfect, he might just try to follow it down. But if you're Wouter in this situation, you have to kind of hope that's all he's playing. Boy, his line looks nice coming by.
Yeah.
His weight does not. Does it stop in time?
Yeah.
Oh, a little spin at the end, and I think it did stop just in time.
Yeah, Scott plays down to it, I think.
They've made the run back as long as they possibly could. It's 9 feet, sure. 8-9 feet.
Yeah.
They're talking about you could hit the yellow and roll 2 of them into the full 8-foot, but that's a tougher shot than you need to play right now. You hit it on the nose, you might not even be shot. You might just double the yellows.
Well, the shot that I guess Matt was suggesting is you had two ways to roll into for shot.
Yeah, I suppose he's not looking to get both of them in, just looking to get one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. This does seem like the more sensible of the options.
Get down to it is objective number one, but if you've got a piece of it, you'd love to move it back a few inches. Then there's absolutely no way he can ever get two.
They're going really hard on this.
He's going to be tighter to the front one for sure than Wouter was.
Yeah, I got 15-3 on the draw. This is not going to get by. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
So it is a chance here for Wouter Gosgens with his final stone in the seventh end. Sitting one at the back of the 8-foot. Needs full 8 to pick up his deuce. And he could close to within 1 coming home.
Yeah, Scott's let this this game drag on and left Wouter in the game. Although Wouter's kept himself in the game, I must say that.
Needs this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Brushers check their watches and then start cleaning. This is really curling already. There is a yellow at the top 12 he's got to get by. He's got nice weight, though.
Yeah.
They will get it by and right into that button area. Gosgens with the deuce here in the 7th. That closes the gap. Scott Howard with a 5-4 lead now coming home, and he will have last rock.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice. Warning hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming
Well, it's funny because I looked and I go, we're not going towards the glass. How can this be the 6th end?
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to
Eighth end underway here. Center guard up to start the end. Tim March with the come around, maybe just a shade deep. He's right at the tee line.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I'm not sure that I'm not surprised here to see. I thought Gosgens' first indication was they're going to try to come around.
Oh, I hope not. Way too early for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you can get away with it, but you can also find yourself out of rocks in a hurry.
Yeah. I think you're right. They're coming right in.
Yeah, I would have thought a second guard first. You kind of, scoreboard dictates you have to take a few chances here.
Yeah.
Now Scott will try to freeze right on top of it. I mean, you could throw a second guard again right after that, and at least then you're only facing one on the button, not two before you start coming in.
And Scott's ripping too.
As soon as he can.
Yeah.
This could work out for them, though. He makes a little tap. You throw the second guard now. Well, for sure not coming in now, right? You're throwing a second guard now. Yeah. As long as he never makes the double peel, even if he does, if he eventually makes the double peel, if it comes right down to the end of the end, you could play the little tap, 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 or even the double on the yellows and sit two. You've got a couple of options. If they don't ever make the double peel, I think he can see enough of the yellow on the outside with the intern to pick it out.
You can definitely see some of it, yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be too tight, though. He's going to make the double peel too easy. Well, I do not think they were trying to come in. That was a plan B at the end when they realized he was heavy.
Half a rock, Scott. Make it go away. Make them go away.
Thick half, probably, and he's got to make sure he loses the shooter too. You don't want to hit. You could probably hit 3/4 and get rid of both of the red ones, but then you probably leave your shooter hanging around somewhere.
Yeah, the last motion on that was out.
You don't want to miss the second one.
Oh, wow. It seems that a lot of the Howard team's misses are just on the wrong side.
Well, that does make things more interesting here as we play this eighth end. It also means there's going to be some angles to play, assuming, even if this guard is made really well, there's going to be angle to try to go over the top of something and move some rocks in the 4-foot. I mean, it still has to be made, but the attempts are going to be there. They need this to curl. He's got to close the gap. I think it will.
Mm-hmm.
Scott's first thought is, as we look from behind Matt, was to drive it to the right. Try to make sure you clip one red or the other. There's a case to be made for going the other way, because if you drive it over the top of the yellow, it's yellow coming back towards the shot stone. It's just that there's not a ton of room between those two stones to go over the top. That's probably the only thing stopping them.
I prefer the double red-yellow, but
yeah, I do too. And over the top, I wondered when he was lining it up, was he looking at the red-yellow double onto the low side of the yellow? But it does look like they're going to go over the top. Red across the face of the yellow, clip it, drive it back towards the stones in the 4-foot area, and see if you can't clean up some of the damage. Gets the red, but misses the yellow altogether. So they'll look to replace the guard. The interesting question here is if you go right to the end like this, and Gosgens on his last one, or maybe he has to make a decision the one before that. Do you straight guard? Are you playing for one? Or do you play the short run just slightly off? Well, because here's the thing. If you only steal one here, you still got to do it again in the extra end. If you've got a chance to set up and maybe steal two, do you take it?
I think, in this situation, I mean, I would honestly say to myself, like, we've been fortunate enough, let's gamble. Like,
well, because here's the thing. Like, it's not easy to steal once. Do you really want to have to do it twice? And this isn't a bad setup. If it was your last shot, take that guard out of the way. If it was your last shot and you nose hit the red onto the yellow, just slightly off nose, so that your shooter rolls over and kind of sits between the two that would be left in the forefoot, what does Scott Howard do? And that's perhaps why Scott's looking at coming off the red on the side. Now you come off that red into the yellow and you'll kick it into the shot stone. But boy, if you don't make it now, if you play it and don't make it, you pretty much force Gosgens to bring another one in and try to steal his two.
I'm playing the same shot.
Well, I would be too, and I'm a little surprised that they talked about it, except that we're on thirds first stones here. You talk about it now, and now you've put that thought into Gosgens' mind, and is he now, by doing that, did you spook him? Is he going to be afraid to throw another guard? Does he make his play into the rings now, which I think would be one shot too early, if not two? I don't know if that's what they were trying to do, but I mean, you do see that from time to time. You'll try to throw another team off make them think we're going to play this other shot, and they maybe make a shot too early, and they've got too much time to bail out. Very close to the double run. Does still leave Gosgens shot rock and buried, albeit now the rock is in the 12-foot.
Scott's got multiple options now.
He does, but I think you're guarding guard the yellow on the center line right now. Even if he makes that in off, you're going to have to come around everything, which is why I don't think he's going to play the in off just yet. The scary thing about where you left that yellow, though, is now if Gosgens ever decided to play the red back onto the yellow, he's sitting 3 and they're still buried.
Yeah.
You wouldn't play at this shot yet, I don't think. I don't even know if you'd play it on skips first, actually. It's a pretty good setup for Gosgens right now.
Yeah, as long as you high side this yellow one.
You don't want to be this tight, though.
Interesting.
I'll be really surprised if he doesn't opt to still make a play on the guard.
Yeah, he's not going to, but...
If you had to, if you made this shot on your last when you win the game, if you make it here, he's still going to have a come around where you might not have a shot for the win. Now, having said that, you make this and you put the pressure back on Gosgens, and they're going to have to make a come around.
Yeah, I don't think he makes this. I think my choice would have been to when I shot.
Well,
that worked out. That worked out. Très bon.
yeah, except that he ended up rolling behind the tee line. If Gosgens makes the come around now, he's probably frozen on the button. I don't think they expected that rock to kick back like that. I think they were looking for a little bit thinner on the first one, come more dead into the side of the second one. When that spun back, that gives Gosgens room. You make the in-turn come around, and there's a good look at it. I mean, if you're dead buried behind the two on the center line, you're a corner in front of that rock that was just spun back there, and I don't know how Scott Howard gets it out. You're right in the top of the button here. This point might already be stolen.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's obviously shooters selection, and kind of what you see is kind of what you play. And I personally, I would have run the guard. I would have got rid of the guard.
Yeah,
but
sometimes what you can make isn't as important as what you're going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like he made the shot they were playing.
Sure.
But look what he's left. Now this has to be made. Because if you don't make it on the first, it won't still be there on your second.
This is
really going to have to go to get by the stone at the top.
He's by that one.
No, it's the one in the rings.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that one.
Well, now if you can make a good hit and roll, I don't know what he's got left. They're talking about a nose hit. I don't like that. He's still got the tap red into the top of the button. And then your shooter would be in the way.
Do you ever consider playing the draw?
Probably not, because he's still got that red run. And you'd hate to leave it in a spot where he might make a triple and you leave the red run to sit two. I think you almost want to roll to split center here, and then the red run doesn't make the 4-foot, I don't think.
That's why I was just thinking, I mean, the draw would probably, you would think be easier to manage in getting it where you want this roll to end up.
Well, he's still got the slash on that red rock, though, then, too. Like, you can't take both of them away with the draw. I don't mind this call. The question is, where do you want to roll to? Like, half under the guard is a horrible spot, because then if he makes the tap, your shooter's in the way.
I love the weight choice here.
It's close. They're just cleaning now. Got the hit. We'll flop across. Oh.
That's pretty good.
I would have liked to roll farther. You look at where that is to the guard. If they make the tap in behind that, the rock you just threw is in the way. You roll another half a rock, there's no port. And this is still a tough shot. It's got to be made. But if you make that tap through the port, what does he have?
Well, he's got off of his own.
His own's going to be. This is a draw weight tap. The red shooter's still going to be in the way of the Yellowstone.
He's got to hit like half of rock.
I'm thinking 2/3.
2/3? Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it's just a draw weight tap. His shooter's not going to roll very far. This is a very tough shot, but it's a shot where if you make it, you might have a steal here. We might be looking at playing 9.
I'll pretend you didn't say that.
You're not going to make the second period. This is a lot of weight for a draw tap. or at least it looked like it early.
Look at it curl.
I think they're going to have to come off of a yellow, though. Oh, it did, and it came off it pretty good. Okay.
Great shot.
What have you got, Terry?
Well, I think you tapped the one you hit and rolled on.
You can't see it.
Got. Oh, yeah.
It's 3/4 behind guard.
Yeah.
It is. It absolutely is 3/4 behind the one on the center line. And what are you going to tap it on? Do you tap it onto red, onto yellow? The red's still going to be shot at the back. It's going to jam on the yellow behind it. I think you're looking at some kind of double run of some sort or another.
Yeah, you could, yeah.
He's looking at the center one. I was actually looking at the one in the 12-foot. You run it, try to clip the edge of the yellow and slash it in. He's looking at the center guard, red onto the yellow in the 12-foot, and try to make that port and make contact with the shot stone. And here's the problem, that it all goes back to that last stone. If he rolls half a rock further with the last stone, that tap wasn't there. If he rolls half a rock less, he's got the slash. It rolled to probably the worst spot they could have put it.
You knows that red one. It's probably
really close. It's real close. Yep.
It didn't waste a whole lot of time.
Close. He's got the nose, but he's going to make contact with the two yellows up front. And a great tap from Wouter Gosgens with his final stone to the corner of the button. Gives him the steal. And we are headed to bonus coverage here from the Curling Stadium, Martensville International. Extra in coverage coming up right after this.
Unbelievable.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardlines Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty.
Just like half a round's never good when you got last rock. He was actually probably about 3/4.
Yeah, it's just hard to believe that we're in an extra end given the opportunities that have existed for a miss by Wouter, or an execution by Scotty. I'll go back to that third end or whatever it was, third end, where he made that great draw to the back of the four.
Fourth, I think.
Was it the fourth?
Third was the blank.
Okay. You'd think this time they'll throw that higher guard.
Yeah, because the draw wasn't as good.
Yeah, there's separation. That's real good.
Look how well they're lined up, too.
Yep. This always seems like a scary shot to me in that, if you slide behind the tee, it's like, ugh, and this can end up in the wrong spot so easily.
Well, I think we're out of commercials, but we're still in the split screen. I'm not sure if you can hear us or not. We've got an interesting start to this end. The two center guards thrown up to start things off. A little bit of a pocket formed with the yellows at the top and a tap back attempt. That's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I thought it was my screen. I'm here to. Well, how come I can't make it bigger?
Everybody's got a smaller screen than they're used to, but they can see it and they can hear us. So
yeah,
we'll do the best we can with this. Just makes the peel on the higher guard for now.
There we go.
You could probably replace that guard right through to the end right now because he didn't get it quite behind the tee line, but it's close enough. If you had to make a tap with your last one, you could still be in a pretty good steal position. So I'm thinking you're guarding the tight guard for now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't want to guard quite
We
that
asked
long.
Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
5-star logo. Even.
More speed? More innovation?
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, easier for the Howard team. We got the full production shot for a moment there.
Mm-hmm.
Still got stuff to work with. Pardon me. If you're Gosgens, you got to guard the red for now. You can always tap it up with your last one. Get into a steal position that way. Gosgens needs this win. Needs the steal.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just 3 games in these mini pools to try to qualify. I believe it is anyway. Maybe they're playing 4.
I think they're playing 4.
They're playing 4? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
That's why they're not showing it in pools. Okay, that makes sense.
And if you're Wouter, do you ever worry that Scott abandons ship and doesn't run guards?
I don't think you can. I think you have to let him run, and if he decides to switch, that's maybe your best chance. Now, granted, they could make a really good shot, and then you don't have a shot for your last one, but you're trying to steal here.
Oh yeah, no.
I did confirm. I just checked ahead at the head-to-heads that these teams have, and yes, it is 4 games that everybody plays. So 2-2 again. When it's 8 teams out of 16 qualify, 2-2 might make the playoffs, but you're relying on tiebreakers, and we didn't see them do a recorded measurement beforehand. So the tiebreakers, it'll be a draw to the button somewhere along the line. I don't know whether that's been done yet or not.
They haven't been keeping track of it.
No, so it likely will be one that's done after one of the draws, I would imagine.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, when you do that, it's usually right after your first game, so that may have been done already.
So is
looks like he's
Wouter
playing
now?
Yeah, he's got to play the tap now.
Make his move, yeah.
And if he's playing it now, you got to think he's going to tap to just frozen, and not critical to be shot rock here. It's pretty critical that he's got it frozen. If you get it frozen, there's no way Scott can take away a tap on your next one. Because you got them both ways. You got the red you could tap back, or you could play the double on the yellows if you had to. It's a very precise tap, but so was the one he made last end. And that's why we're playing this end.
Yeah, he's made a lot of real gutsy call, or well, they're I guess they are gutsy calls, but gutsy shots, man.
There's not a lot of leeway on this one.
Gonna have to go in a minute here. It's gonna curl hard, I would think.
He's close. Tap. He's probably actually shot rock for now. Do you play the double on the reds, or do you slash the yellow in?
Yeah, I think you play the double on the reds. Although now that I look at it, like that yellow, anything high side looks pretty good.
Yeah. But if you ever make this double where you can make this pretty close to right on the nose, then he can't get to the back one to freeze it either.
That's right.
If you roll to the outside, he can make the freeze.
Sweepers are on, off.
Usually it means they're close.
He's got it. Yeah. You curl, I curl.
Well, he can't get there with the freeze. Do you have to play the port, try to hit it?
I do believe you do.
And if you do, which way are you rolling? Well, if you roll behind the center one, that's an awful short run. I think you got to try to roll towards the corner one a little bit. Or you throw a bullet through there and try to hit it right on the nose and see if Scott can and hit the hole as well. That's not there. There's nothing you're throwing with broom at the edge of the 8-foot that will make that port. I think they're looking at hitting it and rolling to the outside, and they're scared of rolling too far, which, I can understand. It's a tough port.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if you played the in-turn through the port and tried to roll under center, I don't think there's enough air there that you'd ever have to worry about rolling too far, but yeah, this isn't there. there's nothing with the weight you're going to throw. Even that's tough. He's got to be looking at something closer to bumper weight with that. That's a reverse staggered port between the red, or pardon me, the yellow and the 12-foot and the yellow at the top of the 4. It's tough. The way they curl coming in, that's a real tough port. He's trying to keep the yellow in the rings somewhere. I don't see how you make that port and not kill it.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but kill it and then just decide where you want to roll. And I get that he'd be scared to roll to the outside because you don't have a lot of real estate there. Sweeping for curl now. Has to get off the top yellow. That just wasn't there with that.
Yeah,
with that weight.
And the weight to make the shot he called was probably pretty close to what he needed. But yeah, you're right. That was just too tough.
It wasn't there with that weight to make the port.
Yeah.
So Scott Howard doesn't have to throw his last one. Picks up his second win. He'll go to 2-0. Gosgens to 0-2. Both of them will be on the ice again tomorrow. We will have all the action for you here, the round robin portion of it. One more draw left today, 4 draws tomorrow, and then playoff action on Sunday through to the championship late Sunday afternoon. I want to thank you for joining us here this afternoon. On behalf of myself, Sean Joyce, my partner, Terry Corbin. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again from the Martensville Curling Stadium International. Have a good evening.
Take care, all.
Oh, for as good as he made.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed? More innovation?
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot.